Part 19. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 181. He is right. My father, 2 sisters, and 1 brother, we do have a big family to support. Jia looked at Zhang Chen and said, when I agreed to marry him, he agreed to help me support my family. He has indeed done this for so many years, and he has never taken back a penny from his own family. When I was in junior high school, my father was crushed by a stone. He was helping his boss collect stones in a quarry. A large piece of stone fell down, killing one and injuring 2 others. The boss of the quarry ran away. I didn't pay a penny for medical expenses. My father saved his life because I went to relatives' houses and borrowed money from door to door. My life was saved, but I was paralyzed and couldn't even get out of bed. 2 younger sisters and 1 younger brother are still in elementary school, and I am the only one who relies on me at home. I have no choice but to not go to school. I take care of my father at home while also raising my younger brother and younger sister. Our place is full of mountains. There is very little land and life is very difficult. The family simply cannot survive on what little there is in the land. Where's your mother? Zhang Chen asked. She was working outside. Knowing this, she didn't even return home. She ran away with another man and no one knows where she went. Jia said, I had no choice but to go out and find a job. Then when I was 15 years old, I had never even been to the town, so I had no idea what it was like outside. I knew there was work to do in the county town, so I walked all day and night by myself before reaching the county town. When I arrived in the county, I didn't know how to find a job, and I didn't know anyone. It's funny. I walked past the shops on the street and saw the word recruitment hanging on the door. I didn't know they were recruiting people. I don't know the word hiring, and I don't know that recruiting means recruiting people. I won't know until you write recruiting or hiring. At that time, it was my first time to go out and I was timid. When I arrived in the county, I thought why this place was so big and the houses were so nice. It was probably the biggest and best place in the world. Look at it now, it's all in tatters. Yes, I didn't even dare to ask people at that time. Later I was so hungry and tired that I couldn't walk anymore. I was sitting next to a fruit stall and almost fainted. The auntie selling fruit was very nice. She felt sorry for my little girl and gave me 2 to eat. A banana makes people better. That was the first time I ate a banana in my life. Isn't it funny? That aunt knew that I was looking for something to do, and she told me that those shops with cardboard signs saying recruitment hanging on the door were looking for people. I found a hotel and worked as a handyman, washing dishes and vegetables. In the first month, I didn't get any salary. I just ate and lived in the hotel at night. From the second month on, I only earned 18 yuan a month. I got my salary and mailed it home. I didn't keep a penny, but I was very happy, thinking that my family finally had food to eat and could survive. Did we meet Jianqiang in that restaurant? Zhang Chen asked. No, he worked in the restaurant behind me. I was no longer a busboy at that time, but a waiter. He has been pursuing me and said he wanted to marry me. I told him about my family's situation, and he promised to be with me. I only agreed to this to support my family. You just went to register. What are you registering for? No one in our place registers their marriages. They just call a few relatives over, and they get married once they have dinner. Jianqiang just stepped in. During the meal, no one from his family came. Zhang Chen understood, and asked, then why did you come to Heiken again? The money is not enough. My father needs medical treatment, my younger brothers and sisters need to study and eat, and we have to pay off the debt we incurred when I rescued my father. Just the 2 of us, our combined monthly salary is 100 yuan. If not, there won't be enough. One of his senior brothers opened a restaurant here and wrote a letter asking us to help. He also said that the wages here are high, So we came. When we got here, his senior brother's restaurant was closed, and no one knew where he was. Zhang Chen knew what happened next. He thought, it was really not easy for these two people. What Lu Ligan did was too hummed up. What's next? Are you really not going to live with Jianqiang? Zhang Chen asked Jia. If you don't live with him, who will you live with? Will brother Ganzi want me? Humph, I never thought about it. It's okay. Brother Zhang Chen, don't worry. I won't rely on brother Ganzi. That was not what I meant. It's not the first time we've had an argument. We're used to it. It's okay, brother Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen stood up, went to pour a glass of water for Jia, and handed it to Jia when he came back. When Jia saw it, he quickly took his feet out of the cushion and put them on the ground, and sat down to pick them up. As soon as Jia's feet moved, there was a squeaking sound. Zhang Chen was shocked. He saw a red rope on Jia's ankle. There were 2 bells on the red rope. Zhang Chen stared at the 2 bells. It feels familiar. Jia saw Zhang Chen staring at the bell on her ankle, smiled, and said to Zhang Chen, "It's cute, my guests all like this bell, brother Zanzi also likes it very much, so I wear it." As Jia spoke, she straightened her legs and shook them twice, squeaking. Zhang Chen suddenly remembered everything. That night turned out not to be a dream. He remembered that he was so drunk that the security guard handed him over to Jia, who was just at the elevator entrance about to go downstairs. Jia seemed to be taking him with her, and then after taking the elevator, he was helped into the room and placed on the bed. Zhang Chen stood up. He looked at Jia and said incoherently, "Jia, one night at Wanghai Tower, I drank too much. By the way, it was the security guard who helped me up to the guest room above, right? Did I meet you at the elevator entrance?" "Yeah, that's right," Jia said, "the security guard handed you over to me, and I helped you into the room." "Haha, the room number you told me was still wrong, and I ended up in someone else's room. I was look at the key tag and you'll find the right one. Then shall we still?" Zhang Chen looked at Jia and his face turned pale. He said half of the sentence and could no longer say it. Jia knew what Zhang Chen wanted to say, so she nodded. I was all fragmented," Zhang Chen murmured, "why didn't you tell me later?" "Tell you what, you made a mistake that day and always thought of me as Sister Lily." Jia looked at Zhang Chen with a smile in her eyes and continued, "However, I am very happy. I am very happy that you recognized the wrong person, Zhang brother Chen, I like you too." Zhang Chen was completely confused and stood there at a loss. Jia looked at him and seemed to understand something. Her eyes darkened. "I understand, brother Zhang Chen, do you dislike me?" No, I am, you are very good, really, Jia, you are very good." After Zhang Chen said this, he turned around quickly and walked out. He hurriedly returned to Lu Ligan's room. Lu Ligan and Wenwen were sitting on the edge of the bed. Wenwen was covering Lu Ligan's eyes with a wet towel. Zhang Chen sat down opposite them, looked at Lu Ligan, and didn't know what to say. His own mind was still in a mess. After a long time, Zhang Chen asked, "Gangzi, do you like Jia?" Before Lu Ligan spoke, Wenwen shouted, "How is it possible? Brother Ganzi likes me." Lu Ligan glanced at Wenwen and cursed, "Don't talk nonsense, I don't like anyone." Wenwen was so angry that she took a towel and slapped Lu Ligan's eyes, causing Lu Ligan to scream in pain. "I don't like you either. You are just a toy that Jian and I play with every day," Wenwen cursed. After she finished cursing, she turned and walked out. After a while, Xiaowu and Jianqiang came out of Wenwen and Qinqin's room together. Jianqiang went back to his room. Xiaowu walked in and asked, "What's wrong with Wenwen?" When he got back to the room, Jianqiang and I were kicked out. "Ask him." Zhang Chen pointed at Lu Ligan and said angrily. Lu Ligan looked at Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu, but said nothing. Xiao Wu cursed, "I'm too lazy to ask. This rabbit even eats the grass beside the nest. It deserves a bad end. If I were Jianqiang, I would have chopped him into pieces." Zhang Chen himself was really embarrassed to face Jia again, but today's matter cannot be solved unless it is resolved, otherwise something will happen if they leave. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said to Xiao Wu, "Please help me go and call Jianqiang over." Xiao Wu walked out, and after a while, Jianqiang followed Xiao Wu in. Xiao Wu took a stool and asked Jianqiang to sit on it. He sat next to Lu Ligan, where Wen originally sat. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said, "Gangzi, today we all must speak clearly. From today on, you promise not to flirt with Jia again. Can you do it?" Lu Li lowered his head and nodded. Zhang Chen looked at Jianqiang again and said, "Jianqiang, for the sake of Xiao Wu and I, let's just forget about today's incident, okay?" Jianqiang said angrily, "Okay, I will listen to brother Zhang Chen." "How can such a good thing happen?" Xiao Wu looked at Jianqiang, then looked at Lu Ligan and said, "Give money to others." Lu Ligan sat still and said nothing. Xiao reached out and took out Lu Ligan's wallet from his butt pocket, opened it, and handed the wad of money inside to Jianqiang without even counting it. Jianqiang shrank back, and Zhang Chen shouted, "Take it, Jianqiang." After calling out, Zhang Chen himself was stunned for a moment, cursing himself in his mind, "Damn it, shouldn't you be giving money to others too?" The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 182. The next day, Jianqiang and Jia moved away. Even Xiao didn't know where they moved. After the room became available, Xiao rented it and moved into Jianqiang and Jia's room. Later, Zhang Chen met Jianqiang several times in Wanghai Tower. Jianqiang would sometimes go to Zhang Chen's office at night to see Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen also saw Jia in the lobby of Wanghai Tower. When he arrived at Jia, he hid early. When Zhang Chen was in the office, someone called him, "Brother Zhang Chen." Zhang Chen looked up and saw that it was Yilin, with Xiao Wu standing behind him. Zhang Chen was surprised and said, "Yilin, why are you here?" Xiao Wu and Zhang Chen said that Yilin wanted to practice boxing with him, and his mother also told me, so I asked him to come over and practice together at night, and now I will show him the way. Zhang Chen thought to himself that as orphans and widowers like Yilin, they would inevitably be bullied. It would be good for him to learn some martial arts from Xiao Wu, and at least he could protect himself. Zhang Chen and Yilin said, "Then you don't have to go home after school, just come here. You can also do your homework in my office. There are meal tickets in the drawer. If we are not here, you can go to the cafeteria to eat by yourself, I will give you a key tomorrow." Yilin nodded shyly. But in Yilin, even though he had the key to Zhang Chen's office, he didn't come here after school every day. Instead, after going home and eating, he would ride a broken bicycle and come here to practice boxing. After practicing, he would follow Xiao Wu road back together. Only for a few days, when her mother was away from home, would Yilin come to Zhang Chen's place for dinner. After the temporary lobby in front was renovated, the lobby of Wanghai International Hotel was officially closed and demolition and renovation began. Both the lobby and the third floor of the mall had to meet deadlines, and Zhang Chen was also very busy. Every night, he had to work overtime until about 10 o'clock before going home. Gu Shufang seemed to have disappeared. Zhang Chen went back every day, and the third floor the lights were all dark, and Xiaolin and Kejin, no matter how noisy they came back or the next morning, Gu Shufang could not be seen at the stairs. But Gu Shufang did not disappear. Zhang Chen went back every night and the notes and receipts he left for her disappeared the next day. The reimbursement that should be reimbursed and the money that should be arranged were always arranged in a timely manner. Every Saturday, Jin Lily would come. They stayed at Wanghai International Hotel. Jin Lili would not ask to go to Wenmingdong, and Zhang Chen did not dare to invite him. He always felt that Jin Lili was the last person who should appear in that house. As long as she appears, the current peaceful situation will probably be broken. Jin Lili had almost forgotten that they were in Wenming East and Zhang Chen's room. Jin Lili is now very familiar with several waiters at the hotel's front desk. They all know that she is Mr. Zhang's girlfriend. When Jin Lili comes on weekends, she gets off the car at the gate and goes directly to the front desk to get the room key. There is no need to register, the waiter will do it for you, and they can even memorize the few items on the accommodation sheet. Jin Lili went upstairs to take a shower, changed her clothes, and then appeared in Zhang Chen's office, smelling good, and went to have dinner with them. Every Saturday, they would have a beautiful and satisfying night in the hotel room. Early the next morning, while Zhang Chen was still dreaming, Jin Lili got up and left. Now every Sunday morning, Jin Lili wakes up. Want to learn to drive? Lao Bao is not in Haikan, so Mr. Xia drives all day long. Even when Jin Lili goes to the bank to do things, he often has to be sent by Mr. Xia. The Kuomao Road at the entrance of the financial garden is a small road, and the residents here all have their own cars, so it is very difficult. Taxis rarely come in. If you want to take a taxi, you have to go outside to Longkan North Road, so you have to go to Mr. Xia to deliver it. Mr. Xia said, "I am almost your driver." In a business like theirs, the main daily tasks are drinking and socializing. If Jin Lili could drive, it would be much easier and more convenient for Mr. Xia. Mr. Xia and Jin Lili said that as long as you get your driver's license, the company will match you a car immediately. There are 3 people in our company and 3 Mercedes-Benz cars. Going out also represents our strength. My old boss is in Sanya, and Mr. Xia has already matched him with a car. Car. I don't want a Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz doesn't have white ones. I want a white car, Jin Lili said. Indeed, at that time, the Mercedes-Benz in Haikan were all black. I had never seen a white Mercedes-Benz on the street. Okay, get me your driver's license first. Once you get it, you can choose what kind of car you want, Mr. Xia said. Remember, you are not allowed to open the back door. You must really pass the test yourself, otherwise, you dare to drive, I don't dare to take your car yet. Mr. Xia knew that if she only needed a driver's license, Jin Lili could get it immediately without taking a test by finding an acquaintance in the Public Security Bureau. She already had this skill. Under such motivation, Jin Lili practices driving very frequently every week. The sun in Haikan is very strong during the day, and Jin Lili is afraid of getting tanned. She practices driving every Sunday from 7 to 9 in the morning. From 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening, after finishing driving practice in the morning, I rushed over. It was almost time to check out of the hotel room. Jin Lili simply didn't come over and went directly back to the company. In this way, Zhang Chen and Jin Lili could meet only one Saturday night every week. They were both very busy. They didn't say that they met frequently, but they felt it was just right in their hearts. It was almost 7 o'clock, and Zhang Chen was still in the closed lobby, watching them dismantle the white marble relief. Zhang Chen had already asked carpenters to make a lot of wooden boxes. He asked them to use straw ropes piece by piece to remove the relief. Tie them up and put them into wooden boxes. Each wooden box is numbered by workers in order. Mr. Fu did not ask for the relief to be preserved. Zhang Chen himself did not know what the use of preserving it was. He just felt that it would be a pity if such a good sculpture was thrown away as construction waste. Zhang Chen has been in the lobby all afternoon, instructing the workers to disassemble and number, and has only now completed the work. The worker asked where to move these boxes. Zhang Chen said that they should first be moved to the material warehouse at the back and find a corner to pile them up. After spending an afternoon in the stuffy and hot lobby, Zhang Chen twitched his nose when he walked outside. He felt that the air outside was unusually fresh. He stood at the original gate for a while, without appetite, and wanted to go back later. Eat some on the way. The parking lots in front of the gate and on the left-hand side were already full of cars, and cars kept coming in. The entrance was blocked. The queue outside reached Hixia Road, and even the traffic police came over. Because a temporary lobby was built in the parking lot, more than 20 parking spaces were reduced. At mealtime, the hotel's parking spaces became tight. They had already closed the roadsides of Hixia First Road and Second Branch Road. It has been converted into a parking lot, and security guards are guiding the vehicles blocking the entrance there. Now is the time when the temporary lobby has the most people. Zhang Chen walked over to take a look. Although there were many people in the lobby, because there was no rest area, the guests stayed in the lobby for a short time and the people were evacuated quickly, so there was no it seemed crowded, just as I had imagined. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Chen turned around to go out, but saw someone coming in at the gate. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Xiao Zhao." Xiao Zhao also saw Zhang Chen, and she shouted happily, "Why are you here?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I should be here, it's strange that you are here." I'm going to eat upstairs," Xiao Zhao said, her face slightly red, and she looked behind Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen understood that it was Director Fu's team again, and Xiao Zhao was accompanying him. Zhang Chen took a few steps to the side and pulled Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao followed him and walked away. They walked to the corner inside the door and got out of the way. The two stood still, and Zhang Chen said softly, "Long time no see." Xiao Zhao sighed and said, "Yes, long time no see." Both of them knew the reason why they hadn't seen each other for a long time, but they couldn't tell. Zhang Chen was careful and didn't even mention Mr. Fu's name, although he knew that Mr. Fu must have asked Xiao Zhao to come here. Xiao Zhao's back was facing the glass exterior wall of the temporary lobby. While talking to Zhang Chen, she would look at the lobby behind Zhang Chen from time to time. She looked a little nervous. It was obvious that she was nervous that someone would suddenly appear there. Zhang Chen knew who she was worried about, so Zhang Chen asked, "Are you okay now?" Xiao Zhao's face suddenly turned gloomy, her eyes flickered, and she didn't dare to look at Zhang Chen. After a moment of hesitation, she said, "It's okay." What else did Zhang Chen want to say? Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen, pointed upstairs, and smiled bitterly, I want to go up." Zhang Chen sighed helplessly. Xiao Zhao stared at Zhang Chen for a while, and then walked towards the hall. When passing by Zhang Chen, she gently pulled Zhang Chen's hand. Her hand was cold, and Zhang Chen smelled her again. Cool aroma. "I miss you so much," Xiao Zhao said softly but firmly. After saying that, she let go of Zhang Chen's hand and walked quickly towards the elevator. Zhang Chen was stunned there. He stared blankly at Xiao Zhao's back getting farther and farther into the elevator. Zhang Chen covered his lips with his hands, and Xiao Zhao's faint and cool fragrance was still lingering on his fingertips. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 183. Zhang Chen returned to the office, feeling restless. Xiao Zhao's words kept lingering in his mind, I miss you very much. Zhang Chen sighed, he thought, why don't I miss you again? Zhang Chen stood up and went to the workshed to watch Xiao Wu and the others practice boxing. Although Yilin had just started training, every move was impressive. Xiao Wu came over and said to Zhang Chen, this guy is good, he seems to be born to practice martial arts. People. Zhang Chen was not surprised by this point about Yilin. He thought about the scene when Yilin was almost standing on a tricycle, dodging left and right dexterously, pedaling on the tricycle to send them to Wenmingdong. Jiang Chen looked at it for a while, then returned to the office, sorted out the documents and payment list that he was supposed to take home to Gu Shufang today, and put them in his bag. Jiang Chen sat there blankly. The only thing that could not be dispelled was Xiao Zhao's figure. He looked at the time and saw that it was almost 9 o'clock. After a while, Mr. Fu's dinner would be over. Jiang Chen walked out involuntarily and reached the fountain in front of the old hotel door. He sat down and looked at the temporary lobby door over there. The coconut tree above the head cast a huge shadow, and Jiang Chen sat in this shadow. 10 minutes later, Jiang Chen saw Mr. Qin and several other people who were familiar to Jiang Chen but whose names he didn't know came out of the door. They were all Mr. Fu's friends and should have attended tonight's dinner. There was one person beside each of them. The young girl held their hands and they left in several cars, probably going to a new place. Jiang Chen didn't see Mr. Fu or Xiao Zhao. He sat there for another 10 minutes, but there was still no sign of Xiao Zhao. Jiang Chen thought to himself that they should have gone upstairs. Jiang Chen wanted to find a reason to go upstairs to take a look, but he controlled himself. At this time, he came uninvited. Even a fool knew what he was doing, not to mention Mr. Fu was not stupid. Jiang Chen walked back with a depressed expression. He put his hand in front of his nose and smelled, as if he could still smell the faint cool aroma, but he knew it was impossible. Jiang Chen returned to the office, picked up his bag and was about to go back. A head came in from the door and looked inside. When he saw Jiang Chen, he laughed. Jiang Chen also saw her and was stunned. Standing at the door is Xiao Zhao. "Why are you here?" Jiang Chen asked. "What, you're not welcome?" "Welcome, of course you are welcome." Jiang Chen originally wanted to tell Xiao Zhao that he had gone to the front door to wait for her, but he didn't. "So, where did you come from?" "On the second floor," I asked the security guard. "The security guard said your office is here, so I came over to take a look." "I thought you had gone back." Xiao Zhao smiled and said, "There are passages on the second floor and lobby of the hotel, leading to the mall here." Xiao Zhao came through the mall from the second floor, no wonder he didn't see it at the door. Jiang Chen raised the bag in his hand and said to Xiao Zhao, "No, I'm getting ready to go back and have a meal." "You haven't eaten yet?" Jiang Chen nodded. "How pitiful," Xiao Zhao said, "let me go to dinner with you." Jiang Chen said yes, and he asked, "What do you want to do after eating?" "I also want to ride a motorcycle." Jiang Chen said yes, "Where do you want to go?" "I want to go to Tyrone City." "Okay, let's ride motorcycles to Tailong City now," Jiang Chen said. Xiao Zhao opened his eyes wide. "You don't want to eat?" "There is food to eat in Tailong City." "Really?" Xiao Zhao smiled. "Why do I become stupid when I see you?" Jiang Chen thought about going to the parking lot in front with Xiao Zhao, and there was still a possibility of being bumped into by Mr. Fu. He slung his bag on his shoulder, and the two of them walked out of the office together. Jiang Chen pointed at the gate of the construction site and said to Xiao Zhao, "You go to the gate on Wuzishan Road and wait for me, and I'll ride in the parking lot in front." Xiao Zhao waved to Jiang Chen and went to the gate. Jiang Chen rode his motorcycle and arrived at Wuzishan Road. Xiao Zhao stood at the gate waiting for him. He got into the back seat, still holding his waist with his hands and resting his head on Jiang Chen's back. Jiang Chen turned the car around and rode towards Tailong City. Before arriving at Tailong City, Xiao Zhao called from behind, "Stop the car." Jiang Chen stopped the car and asked Xiao Zhao what happened. Xiao Zhao pointed to a small shop in front and said, "Go and eat. The chicken oil rice and spicy soup here are delicious. I won't lie to you." Jiang Chen followed the direction of Xiao Zhao's finger and saw a small restaurant on the roadside. The red door said spicy soup chicken oil rice. There were 6 or 7 tables in the store. It was already past the meal time, and half of the tables inside were the table is empty. Xiao Zhao held his hand and walked there, telling him that the store was very busy from 5 in the morning to midnight. If he had come an hour earlier, there would have been a long queue here. The two of them entered the restaurant and sat down. Xiao Zhao called out, a bowl of chicken oil rice, a bowl of spicy soup, an omelette with chopped green onion, and a Hainan sfngu sausage. The waiter quickly brought the food. Xiao Zhao sat opposite Zhang Chen and pushed them all in front of Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen asked, "You don't want to eat?" "I haven't just finished eating," Xiao Zhao said with a smile. "Hurry up and drink this soup." Zhang Chen took a spoonful of soup and put it into his mouth. It was spicy, sour, and fresh. It was made of pepper, pickled cabbage, and pig meat. It was full of ingredients. Zhang Chen was surprised. He looked at this shop and it should be from Hainan. Opened by a local, I didn't expect Hainan people to be able to make such spicy soup. Is it delicious? Xiao Zhao stared at Zhang Chen, looking very nervous. It's delicious, Zhang Chen nodded, and Xiao Zhao breathed a sigh of relief, then pointed to the fried egg with green onion and said, "Try this egg quickly." After Zhang Chen tasted it and said it was delicious, Xiao Zhao asked him to try fenjiu sausage and chicken oil rice. As soon as Zhang Chen finished cooking, Xiao Zhao immediately asked him to drink spicy soup. Zhang Chen's soup was still in his mouth, and Xiao Zhao shouted again, "Egg, egg." Zhang Chen almost finished this meal under Xiao Zhao's guidance. Even the waiters leaned on the counter and looked at them and laughed. He had never seen such a funny eating scene. Zhang Chen felt a little embarrassed after eating, but he felt happy in his heart. Besides, this soup, this rice, these eggs, and this sausage are really delicious. After finishing the meal, the two of them sat there for a while. Zhang Chen remembered something and asked Xiao Zhao, "Why, you seem to be very familiar with Haikan now." Xiao Zhao curled her lips and said, "I almost vomited when I went shopping with Xiao Ning every day. It was hard to even think about not being familiar with her." Zhang Chen felt strange, thinking why did Xiao Zhao go shopping with Xiao Ning every day until he almost vomited? He looked at Xiao Zhao and seemed to have no intention of continuing, so he didn't ask. The two of them arrived at Tailong City and walked around. When Zhang Chen saw that Xiao Zhao liked something, he wanted to buy it for her. Xiao Zhao said no, but Zhang Chen persisted, so Xiao Zhao simply pulled him out of the store. After coming out, the two of them finally went to the cinema. Xiao Zhao said, "Let's watch a movie," and Zhang Chen agreed. The two of them walked into the cinema. Zhang Chen saw The Silence of the Lambs and said to Xiao Zhao, "Let's watch this. I like this old guy." Zhang Chen was pointing to Anthony Hopkins on the poster. Xiao Zhao shook her head. She said she didn't understand foreign movies very well. "Look, this movie seems quite scary." "Then let's watch this," Zhang Chen said, pointing to Stephen Chow's play Back to School. "I want to watch this." Xiao Zhao pointed to Tokyo Love Story starring Oda Yuji, Suzuki Hanamai and Iguchi Yasuke. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "This is also a foreign movie." "It's different," Guo Guo Xiao Zhao said coquettishly, and the last brother was in Chongqing dialect, which sounded a bit playful. "Okay, just look at this." Zhang Chen quickly followed Xiao Zhao. They bought a couple's seat. When Zhang Chen told the conductor about the couple's seat, Xiao Zhao was giggling on the side. Zhang Chen looked at her and she was shaving her face with her fingers. The two of them entered the cinema and sat down. Xiao Zhao stretched out his right hand and said to Zhang Chen, "Here it is, Guo Guo." Zhang Chen held Xiao Zhao's hand. Xiao Zhao's hand was soft and cool, lying quietly in Zhang Chen's hand. Her head naturally rested on Zhang Chen's shoulder. Zhang Chen smelled the cool fragrance on her body, and he felt that it didn't matter what movie he was watching. After watching the movie, the two of them walked out of the cinema. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Zhao if he was hungry. If so, should we eat hot pot on Daying Road? Xiao Zhao shook his head. Zhang Chen felt that when Xiao Zhao's movie was about to end, he kept looking at his watch. His whole body seemed to tighten and stiffen, and he became uncomfortable. Xiao Zhao sighed softly and said, "Send me back." Zhang Chen said yes. Along the way, Xiao Zhao hugged Zhang Chen tightly, and his face was pressed against Zhang Chen's back. The two of them didn't speak all the way. When they got to the downstairs of Xiao Zhao's house and got out of the car, Zhang Chen wanted to see Xiao Zhao off. Going upstairs, Xiao Zhao put his hand on Zhang Chen's chest and said to him, "Go back, be good." Zhang Chen was stunned. Xiao Zhao looked around to see if there was no one around, stood up on tiptoes, kissed Zhang Chen quickly, turned around and ran upstairs. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 184. Lu Ligan disappeared for 2 days. When he appeared in Zhang Chen's office on the third day, his eyes were still black and blue. Zhang Chen asked him, "When will you date Lu Yun?" "Today," Lu Ligan said. "Just go like this." "What are you afraid of?" "There is a boxer next to me. I told her that she was beaten by him when I was trying to play." Lu Li pointed at Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu scolded, "Oh, your mother. Now it's yellow and green at night." Zhang Chen thought to himself, "Jia Jia is gone, Wenwen and Qian have also fallen out, at least your kid is at Yilan's house and can't make trouble anymore." "Shit, the three of them are inseparable again," Xiao Wu shouted from the side. Zhang Chen was shocked. "What the hell is this?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It seems that Wenwen is right, you are indeed their toy." "It doesn't matter, just play with each other and have fun," Lu Ligan said nonchalantly. "Are you happy?" Zhang Chen asked. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said seriously, "I'm still happy. I don't have any burden in my heart. I know not to take any responsibilities. Now that we're talking about it, it's better. Everyone gets what they need, instead of pretending to be a hooligan in the name of love." Xiao Wu scolded, "You think you are not a gangster?" Lu Ligan glanced at him and said to Zhang Chen, "You see, there is no justice in this world. How dare you call good people like us rogues?" Zhang Chen also laughed. "Xiao Wu is indeed rare. Not everyone should be involved in eating, drinking, whoring, gambling, and smoking. He only eats and drinks, and does nothing else." Xiao Wu chuckled, "Those are not interesting." Lu Ligan's BB phone rang. He turned around and saw Mr. Xie. Putting down the phone, Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, "I won't talk to you anymore. I'm leaving." "Meeting clients like this?" Zhang Chen asked curiously. "I met them yesterday and they asked me. I told them that they slept with other people's wives and were beaten by their husbands." "Awesome," Zhang Chen raised his thumb. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Let me tell you, the more I say this, the more people think I am joking. Everyone laughs and passes by. Come on, let me ride the motorcycle." Xiao Wu threw the motorcycle keys to him, and Lu Ligan walked out. Xiao Wu looked at his back and cursed, "Who thought the pole would become like this? Damn it, I can't even call him brother now." Lu Ligan rode his motorcycle to Mr. Xie's entertainment city. Mr. Xie was already waiting for him at the door. When he saw him coming, he told him to park the motorcycle aside and take my car. Mr. Xie pointed to his eyes and asked, "What's wrong here?" "If you sleep with someone else's wife, you will be beaten," Lu Ligan said. Mr. Xie laughed loudly, "Not serious." The two people got in the car, Mr. Xie drove, and Lu Ligan sat in the passenger seat. Lu Ligan asked, "How is your business here now?" Mr. Xie sighed, "I can't hold on any longer. Everyone thinks that this is the only place that can still make money, so they are all crowding in. Look at how many new places have been opened in Haikan since the Chinese New Year, but there is still money. There are only so many people playing outside, so how can we get enough to eat even if we share 1 point? It's not surprising." The ding-dong people on Hixia Road are almost out of work. The top people don't have enough to eat, so how can they have money to feed the people below? The departure of the Taiwanese people will have the biggest impact, right? Yes, they like to play the most, and so do the mainlanders, but they have no money, and even the Hainan locals have used up all the land expropriation compensation. In the early days of the establishment of Hainan province, Hainan Island attracted a large number of Taiwanese businessmen because of its similar environmental, climate and humanistic conditions to Taiwan. Taiwanese businessmen ranked first in overseas investment in terms of the number of businesses they opened and the amount of investment. Taiwanese businessmen are particularly keen on the leisure and entertainment industry. The first golf course in Hainan was invested by Taiwanese businessmen, and the best KTV in Haikan was also invested by Taiwanese businessmen. Along with the investment from Taiwanese businessmen are Taiwanese executives from Taiwanese companies and tourists. A large part of the guests who patronize these entertainment venues are Taiwanese. However, with the recession in Hainan's economy, many enterprises and companies invested by Taiwanese businessmen have gone out of business, or are in a state of semi-closure. The departure of Taiwanese businessmen and Taiwanese enterprises will bear the brunt of the impact on Haikan's leisure and entertainment industry. Mr. Xie drove towards Hongcheng Lake. "Where are we going?" Lu Ligan asked. "Go to my factory. I know you have a lot of ideas. I asked you to come here to help me see if I can get some money from there," Mr. Xie and Lu Ligan said. After many twists and turns, they arrived at the outskirts of Haikan. On both sides of the road were swamps and wild slopes covered with trees. Not far away, an L-shaped steel structure factory building appeared in front of us. It was about 4,000 to 5,000 square meters. The area recessed in the L shape was a large cement site. The cement on the site was cracked. Many of them were cracked. Weeds grew out of the gaps. Mr. Xie drove the car to the iron gate of the factory. The iron gate was closed tightly. Mr. Xie honked the car horn. Hearing the sound of the horn, two people walked out of the house. When they saw it was Mr. Xie's car, one of them hurried to the car. "Run over and untie the key from your waist while running." The iron door opened, and Mr. Xie drove in and drove until it reached the door of the steel structure house before stopping. Lu Ligan asked, "Is this your factory?" "Yes, a furniture factory. The factory building has just been built and we don't dare to move it. The scale is not small, so why do you think of setting up a furniture factory? Didn't Hainan just become a province at that time? Many new government agencies and companies popped up all of a sudden. There were no office furniture manufacturers in Hainan, so they had to be shipped from the mainland. The price was extremely expensive. A fellow countryman of mine told me, it would definitely be profitable to do this, so I came to investigate and thought it could be done. It happened to be my old profession, so I took all my family property and ran from Liaoyang to Hainan." "Mr. Xie runs a furniture factory in Liaoyang." "No, I started learning to be a carpenter when I was 13. Lu Ligan laughed, "This span is too big. It's completely different for a carpenter to go to such a large furniture factory." Mr. Xie also smiled, "How could I know so much at that time?" "How much money did Mr. Xie bring to Hainan?" Mr. Xie stretched out his hand and made a horoscope sign. Lu Ligan said, 8,000. Mr. Xie burst out laughing, "With $8,000, I dare to open a furniture factory." 80,000. Mr. Xie shook his head. Lu Ligan added, 800,000. 8 million. 8 million 2 years ago. Mr. Xie is the richest man in Liaoyang, right? Mr. Xie smiled and didn't say yes or no. Lu Ligan was confused. "What kind of carpenter do you do and can earn 8 million? You can make a lot of money by being a carpenter," Mr. Xie scolded. "I sold cloth from Qiqiao, Shaoxing, Zhejiang, to Liaoyang. I hauled it by the truckload. At that time, people in Liuyang went to the streets to buy cloth to make clothes. I basically sell all the cloth. By 2008, the number of people buying cloth was getting smaller and smaller year by year, and they all started to buy ready-made clothes. How many people still bought cloth to make clothes, especially young people, who all wore jeans and denim clothes? Where were the tailor shops? I can do it. I saw this trend and the cloth business will only get worse and worse, so I thought about changing my career. When I had such an opportunity, I came to Hainan, but I didn't expect it to be a trap. Mr. Xie smiled bitterly and continued, in mainland China, I felt that I was very powerful. The threshold of my home was a foot higher than others, and I could kill someone with my clothes when I walked. Only when I came here did I know how much I weighed. Whatever you can think of, others have already thought of it, and the money you want to make, there will always be someone who takes the lead and makes it before you do. Lu Ligan thought, this is what the saying goes, there are mountains beyond the mountains. Mr. Xie made 8 million in his hometown, which is many times higher than those big kings in Yongcheng. He should be the king among the kings. When you get here, your little money and ability are nothing. This is like water. In Balayang Mountain, those guys at home are all from the countryside, and the ground is shaking when they stomp their feet. There are rows of seats in the Juyi Hall, and you are just a name. The two people got out of the car and stood beside it. Lu Ligan looked around and found that this place was actually close to Haikan, alone on a deserted slope. In the distance, he could see the buildings of Haikan. Ying, no wonder so many people like to rent warehouses here. The rent is cheap and the transportation is relatively convenient. Especially the open space in front of the factory is perfect for loading and unloading goods. What is this place? Lu Ligan asked. I don't know what this place should be called. It doesn't have a name. It turned out to be a shooting range of the armed police force. When the city expanded, it was too close to the city, so it was abandoned and has been deserted. My fellow villager who encouraged me to come to Hainan, he is the chief of staff of the army. They want to rent the entire shooting range to me, but I don't want it. Why do they want it so big? I only want 1/3. The rent is very cheap, Lu Ligan asked. The entire shooting range is 50,000 a year. I rent 1/3 of it. It's a little more expensive, 20,000. I paid them all at once for 20 years, and it was a little cheaper and I gave them 350,000. I thought, since we are building factories here, we have to die here. We can't move even if we want to. I will pay the rent in one lump sum for 20 years. Of course the army is willing. This land is empty. They suddenly have an income of hundreds of thousands, but who cares if the people behind them have no money to collect? The two people talked and walked into the factory building. The factory building used to be a large hall, but now it is divided into warehouses of more than 100 square meters, with a passage in the middle. Most of the goods piled in these warehouses are now basically they have all become ownerless goods, and the rent has been in arrears. According to the agreement, the right to dispose of them all belongs to Mr. Xie. Mr. Xie invited Lu Ligan here just to see if he could handle all the goods. Lu Ligan knew that Jigui liquor and Xiangquan liquor in that warehouse were all here. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 185. The two staff who stayed behind at the warehouse took Mr. Xie and Lu Ligan to look at the warehouses. Lu Ligan saw that the place was in a mess, with everything in it. In addition to wine, there were also paper, porcelain, medicinal materials, pressure cookers, aluminum pots, plastic products, hot water bottles, leather shoes, buttons, cloth, sewing machines, electronic scales, etc. in one room. Lu Ligan also saw 123 products in a room. The so-called 123 products, Mr. Xie told him, are menstrual belts, bras, and briefs. When the factory of a Taiwanese boss closed down, the inventory in the factory was moved here. Now, no one knows where the boss has gone. It's probably time to go back to Taiwan. How is the quality of these things? Lu Ligan asked. Some of them are very good, but the market has not opened up in Haikan, so they are unsaleable. Like Jagui liquor, you have also drunk some, haha. Mr. Xie led Lu Ligan back to the warehouse where the electronic scales were kept. On the table in the warehouse, there was an unpacked electronic scale. There, Mr. Xie picked up another unopened electronic scale. Put it on, he said to Lu Ligan, and see how heavy it is. Lu Ligan looked at the display and said, 3.7 kilograms. Mr. Xie took away the electronic scale, put it back on, and asked, what now? Lu Ligan was confused and cursed, it's 3.9 kilograms again. Mr. Xie took it away and put it back again. For the same thing, the electronic scale showed another 3.6 kilograms. Lu Ligan laughed loudly, can this scale do magic? This is also put here by a Taiwanese factory. You said, if you make such an electronic scale, the factory will be closed down. Is it unfair? Mr. Xie said with a smile. It's not unfair, this is not a scale, it's a Rubik's Cube. Lu Ligan cursed. They walked around in a circle and walked back to the gate. Lu Ligan asked Mr. Xie, I think there are many things here that are very good. Why do these cargo owners just pile the goods here for a little rent and don't want them anymore? It's not that I don't want it, it's that I have no choice. I can't afford it. A fellow villager like me doesn't even have money to eat. If he takes the wine out, where will he put it? If he wants to take it out, I have to pay the rent owed here, right? You have to pay the rent. If you rent a place, don't you still have to pay rent? If you bring it back to the mainland, the freight will be more. Where will he get the money? Lu Ligan nodded, he thought, the main reason is that no one knows about Jagui liquor. Liquor is not a book, the price is printed on it. You say it is worth more than 300, but others think it is not as good as a big aphrodisiac. No matter how cheap you are, it will be difficult to deal with. It's also liquor, and a bottle of 1,000 cups less only costs 80 cents. Why do you say that your bottle is worth more than 400 bottles to others? Mr. Xie continued, there are a lot of things. These people got them on credit from the factory through various relationships. They said they came to Hainan to expand the market. They didn't pay for it at the factory. They brought it over and sold it. Just a little bit, if you bring it back to the factory, not only will you have to pay here and the freight, but you will also have to settle accounts with the factory. Then you will lose even more, so you might as well just run away. I understand. Lu Ligan nodded. There were also factories that came to us, but when they heard that the rent was still owed, they didn't care about it, and they didn't dare to take it back. Why? If we don't bring it back, this batch of goods will still be recorded on the factory's books, but it will still be recorded on the head of the dealer. Any responsibility will be borne by him. If we bring it back, who will fill the shortfall in the middle? You must know that these goods are brought back when we came out, we all came out through relationships. If we pull them back, we will be held responsible for the original relationships, so it's best to just not know. Yes, this way, from the book, the company has no losses. The dealer owes them the full payment, and it will be unclear if they can get it back. Lu Ligan said. That's the truth. Mr. Xie said, I am also unlucky. I can't collect the rent, and I have to arrange for someone to take care of it. According to the contract, if the rent is not paid for 6 months, I can dispose of these goods. They have already exceeded 6. It's been a month, and I have no problem handling it. I'm afraid if I put it down again, it will really become garbage, and then I will suffer a big loss. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said, with so many things, the only way to deal with them is resource allocation. Resource allocation, what do you mean? Mr. Xia asked puzzledly. We definitely can't sell it ourselves, we can only leave it to professionals. Lu Ligan thought of Chen Qiang and said, for example, I have a friend who sells Suanwei ham from Yunnan. They do a pretty good job. Our customers are various hotels. You can let them sell wine, tableware, famous ingredients, astragalus, etc., and their customers are already made. Lu Ligan's mind was spinning rapidly, and he said, I know a few paper sellers about those papers. You can let them take a look. If they can eat it all at once, you can give it to them at a lower price. If you can't eat it, you can give it to them at a lower price, let them sell it on your behalf. It's the same with other products. Mr. Xia nodded and said, it's a pity that I don't know so many companies. Lu Ligan smiled and said, you don't know me, I know their details. Which company is stronger and the boss is more reliable? If you let others sell on your behalf, they will definitely not pay first. This requires a lot of time. If you accidentally encounter an unreliable company, you won't be able to get the money back after selling it, which is also troublesome. Lu Ligan is really not bragging about this. He washes the building every day. It can be said that the entire Heiken is like a grate. He has gone through the grate several times. He knows almost all the companies and has a general understanding of the company's situation. It is not difficult to find some relevant companies. That's great, Mr. Xie said, I'll pay you a salary and you help me do this. I can help, but I don't want the salary, Lu Ligan said. How about that? Why not? I'm just here to help. It's not a difficult thing for me. I just make some phone calls and ask them to come over and take a look at the goods. Okay, then I, Mr. Xie, owe you a big favor, Mr. Xie shouted. Lu Ligan smiled, this is good. It feels good to let the big boss owe me a favor. As Lu Ligan spoke, he thought of Yilin Mama again. He thought that those 123 products and daily necessities such as aluminum pots, towels, leather shoes, and thermos bottles could be sold by Yilin Mama or other companies. No matter what, they would always be sold by Yilin Mama. There is a monthly settlement cycle, but Yilin's mother is different. When she comes to pick up the next shipment, she can settle the previous one, so that she can get the payment back in 2 or 3 days. Lu Ligan told this idea to Mr. Xie, and Mr. Xie said that this is not bad, but how much can one person sell a tricycle in a day, and when will it be sold? She can mobilize her neighbors to sell together. Hainanese women are so industrious. They know this opportunity to make money and don't come here like crazy. When she sells goods to me, the neighbors around me are very envious. My landlord, this person is very good and reliable. We asked her to deliver the goods uniformly and collect payment uniformly. They are all locals and the payment is guaranteed. Okay, I'll listen to you, and you can help me arrange this, Mr. Xie said. You arrange someone here, and I ask them all to contact him. We can't each ask you, Boss Xie, to accompany them to see the goods. Lu Ligan said, and Mr. Xie agreed. He immediately took Lu Ligan's address book and wrote the name and phone number of a vice president of their company on it. Mr. Xie said, I will explain it clearly to him when I go back. Let him be responsible for this. The two of them took the car back to Mr. Xie's entertainment city. Mr. Xie made sure to treat Lu Ligan to dinner. Lu Ligan said he wouldn't eat, so I'd better go and take care of this matter first. Mr. Xie asked someone to bring down 2 boxes of Jagui liquor and tie them to the back seat of Lu Ligan's motorcycle. He told Lu Ligan that he would come back to pick them up after he finished drinking. Lu Ligan couldn't refuse and had no choice but to accept them. Lu Ligan returned to Zhang Chen's office. As soon as his motorcycle stopped at the door, Xiao Wu walked out. Lu Ligan told him to hurry up and take the wine in. The two people went in with a box of wine each. When Zhang Chen saw it, he shouted, "Is the autumn wind blowing again?" Lu Ligan said, "The wine is yours, the office phone number, I need to commandeer an afternoon. Xiao Wu, can you go to the cafeteria and help me get a meal? I'm starving to death. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu had already eaten. Xiao Wu took 2 bowls and knocked them against each other and walked out. Lu Li sat down and was about to make a phone call when he stood up again and told Zhang Chen that I had to go home first and he would come back as soon as possible. Ask Xiao Wu to put the rice here. Lu Ligan went back and brought in his carton of business cards. He found all the business cards of the corresponding companies inside and piled them on the table. Then he picked up the food on the table and started eating. After eating, Lu Ligan started to make phone calls. The first one was to Chen Qiang. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 186. Lu Ligan made an appointment with Vice President Xiang of the head office to meet at the warehouse the next morning. Lu Ligan was worried that Yilin's mother didn't understand Mandarin well and couldn't speak clearly, so he decided to take her to see it himself, and then helped her hand over to Vice President Xiang. Lu Ligan called a car and walked along the same road that he and Mr. Xie walked yesterday. It took more than an hour to arrive at the warehouse. Today, the iron door outside was wide open, and there was an open space inside. Lu Ligan saw 4 cars parked there and knew that they were all here to see the goods. One of them belonged to Li Yang's company. Lu Ligan asked the Peng Peng car to park in the open space to wait for them. He took Yilin's mother in. When he arrived at the door, he met Vice President Xiang as he escorted Chen Qiang and Li Yang out. Chen Qiang and Lu Ligan said that they had all seen it. I'll send a truck over in the afternoon and get the goods out first. Lu Ligan said yes. The 4 of them chatted briefly. Li Yang and Chen Qiang got in the car and left. Lu Ligan introduced Yilin's mother to Vice President Xiang. Vice President Xiang showed them. Yilin's mother was very serious and took out a bottle. With pencils and an old exercise book that Yilin had not used yet, she wrote down every item, from quantity to specifications, and wrote them all very carefully. She couldn't write many words, so she drew pictures. The drawing was really not very good. Neither Lu Ligan nor Vice President Xiang could see what she drew on the side. The thermos bottle was a circle with half a circle on the side. Even if it was a handle, the aluminum pot was also a circle. Adding a handle, when it comes to the teacup, it's still a circle plus a handle. Lu Ligan smiled and said, aren't they all the same? How to divide it? Yilin's mother said, of course it was a good score. She flipped through the book and told them, isn't the thermos long? The long round one is the thermos bottle. The aluminum pot is flat. The flat round is the aluminum pot. This one has the smallest teacup. There is a point at the bottom, like a peach, which is the teacup. Lu Ligan and Vice President Xiang were both amused by Yilin's mother. Vice President Xiang asked Yilin's mother to bring a sample of each product, so that it would be clear. Yilin's mother said that she would bring several cars to pull the goods together tomorrow. Lu Ligan told her to come here and collect the goods. You handle the goods and check out all by yourself. You can add some taps to each item before selling it to them. Let them give you all the money they sell every day, and you can settle here. Vice President Xiang discussed with Yilin's mother and decided the price of each item for her, and explained it clearly to the staff in charge of the warehouse, so that Yilin's mother would go directly here to pick up the goods in the future, and the staff would be responsible for clearly registering the quantity of incoming and outgoing goods. Just report it to Vice President Xiang. To settle the payment, Yilin's mother should go to the company to find Vice President Xiang. Lu Ligan, Yilin's mother, and Vice President Xiang said goodbye. When they got to the Peng Peng car outside, the driver of the Peng Peng car asked Lu Ligan if he was going back to Binya village. Lu Ligan said yes. Then don't take the original path, it's much farther. The driver said to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan said yes, you can just drive. The Peng Peng car carried them, and after driving for only 10 minutes, they arrived at the South Bridge. It was indeed much closer. Yilan's mother remembered it carefully, and she would take this road tomorrow. There are many construction workers building road blocks at the South Bridge. It seems that after coming down from the South Bridge, the road leading here will be blocked. Lu Ligan called the Peng Peng car to stop. He ran over and asked the workers, what was going to be built here. The worker pointed behind him and told him Lonkan South Road. Lonkan South Road. Where does it lead? Then how do we know? We are not building roads, we are building road blocks. Lu Ligan stood and looked at the direction they were coming from. His heart skipped a beat. He thought that if Lonkan South Road passed by Mr. Xie's factory, Mr. Xie would be in trouble. Land lease agreements generally have a force majeure clause. According to the terms of the contract, if government public facilities need to be requisitioned, it is considered force majeure, and the lessor does not need to compensate the lessee for any losses incurred. This was a big deal, so Lu Ligan decided to help Mr. Xie understand it. He returned to the Peng Peng car, which carried them on their way. After Lu Ligan arrived in Haikan, he passed by here every day and always wondered. Lonkan North Road ended from Binhai Avenue to Nandakiao. Past Nandakiao, it was a wasteland and messy paths this road ended. Why not it is called Lonkan Road, but North Road? There is no road called Lonkan South Road in Haikan. It turns out that Lonkan South Road exists, but it is just about to be built. The section of road going south after getting off the Nandakiao Bridge should be Lonkan South Road. After Lu Ligan got home, Yilan's mother carried the big bag of samples home. Lu Ligan went out on his bicycle. When he reached Binhai Avenue, he thought about it and rode back to the small shop to give Jin Lily. I made a phone call and asked Jin Lily, do you know anyone in Haikan's planning and urban construction department? What are you going to do? I know the director of the provincial planning department. He should also be in charge of these departments in Haikan, Jin Lily said. I want to see Haikan's urban planning and understand a little bit about the situation, Lu Ligan said. That's all. Right. Then you wait in the shop, don't go away, I'll ask you right away, Jin Lily said and hung up the phone. Lu Ligan parked his bicycle in the shop and went to the shed next to him to watch people playing billiards. Before he finished the game of billiards, the owner of the shop asked Lu Ligan to answer the phone. Lu Ligan hurried over and it was Jin. When Lily came back, Jin Lily asked Lu Ligan to write down a number and told him that this is Director Wang of the Planning Department of Haikan Urban Construction Bureau. You go find him. By the way, he is in the office now. You can go there now, just because Director Luo introduced him, Jin Lily said. Where is the Urban Construction Bureau? It's not far from us. It's the newly built building opposite Haikan city government. Lu Ligan understood that it was at the intersection of Lonkan North Road and Binhai Avenue, opposite the Haikan city government. He would pass by it every day by bicycle. The name of that building was Haikan Urban Construction and Planning Complex. It looked like Haikan City. The City Urban Development Bureau is in that building. Lu Ligan arrived at the Urban Construction Bureau and found the Planning Department. Director Wang was very enthusiastic when he saw him and knew that he was introduced by Director Luo. Director Luo's secretary did not tell him what he was here for. Director Wang handed his business card to Lu Ligan and asked Lu Ligan if there was anything he could do to help. Lu Ligan thought for a moment, and instead of taking out his company's business card, he took out the business card of Hainan Daily and told Director Wang that he was here to learn about Haikan's urban planning. Okay, come with me. Director Wang took Lu Ligan to a room next door. In the middle of the room was a sand table with an area of more than 10 square meters. Director Wang and Lu Ligan said, this we just asked Tsinghua University and Tongji University to help us do this, and this is our future Haikan. Lu Ligan didn't care about Haikan in the future, he cared about the present. I saw today that Lonkan South Road is going to be built, Lu Ligan asked. Yes, work will start next week. Where is it? Lonkan North Road, from Binhai Avenue to South Bridge, after passing South Bridge, is Lonkan South Road. Lonkan South Road goes all the way south and will connect with the planned Yingbin Avenue. Yingbin Avenue? Where does this come from? It goes from Lonkan South Road to the airport. Airport? Lu Ligan was confused. How long does it take to get to the airport? Director Wang laughed loudly. Reporter Lu thought it was Dayang Airport. No, Dayang Airport is no longer able to bear it. It was just a piece of land used by the China Southern Airlines troops in the early days of the founding of the province for temporary emergency use. Now it is in the core area of Haikan, severely restricts the development of Haikan. I am talking about the new international airport, and the new airport is in Milan. Director Wang picked up a billiard stick from the corner, pointed it on the sand table, and patiently explained to Lu Ligan where Lonkan South Road was, where Yingbin Avenue was, and where the future Milan airport was. Where? Lu Ligan vaguely felt that his judgment was correct. Mr. Xie's factory should be in the area crossed by Director Wang's billiard stick. After Lonkan South Road is completed, it will become the main road in Haikan, Director Wang and Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan asked Director Wang, there is an old shooting range of the armed police force over there at Hongcheng Lake. Does Director Wang know about it? I know. Oh, Director Wang, let me ask a personal question. I have a friend who built a factory there. I see, is it a factory run by a Hunan SE? We passed by it during our inspection and even went in to rest for a while. Yes, I would like to ask if his area will be expropriated for the construction of Longkunnan Road. He is planning to start construction this year. If it is expropriated, it will be tragic. No, let him rest assured. The construction land on Lonkan South Road was expropriated last year. The old shooting range is not within the expropriation scope. Lonkan South Road happens to pass in front of the shooting range. After it is built, it will only be given to him. Convenient entry and exit. You mean, Lonkan South Road happens to pass in front of him? Yes, the green areas on both sides of the road just touch the edge of the old shooting range. The Pentium era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 187. After leaving the Urban Construction Bureau, Lu Ligan rode his bicycle, thinking as he rode, it seemed that the risk of Mr. Xie's factory being expropriated was gone, so he could rest assured. Lu Ligan himself also laughed. What should you worry about? It's none of your business. Even if you are requisitioned, you don't need to worry about it. If you take a few bottles of wine from someone else, will it matter to you? After scolding, Lu Ligan carefully recalled Director Wang's words, but he vaguely felt that his trip to the Urban Construction Bureau today seemed to be worth it. Director Wang not only relieved his worries, Lu Ligan felt, he also told himself a piece of good news, but Lu Li couldn't figure out what was so good about it. Lu Ligan saw the gate of a unit on the roadside. The gate was shady, so he simply stopped the car and sat on the steps at the door for a while. The security guard at the door came out and wanted to drive Lu Ligan away. Lu Ligan turned to look at him and took out his press card from his pocket and shook it. The security guard stepped back, not knowing that he was being slapped in Lu Ligan's face. The dark green color was frightened away by the press card in his hand. Although there were reporters everywhere in Haikan at that time and reporters were not valuable, they didn't even enter your door. They just sat at the gate, so there was no need to embarrass them. Lu Ligan looked at the traffic and pedestrians coming and going on the street, and at the Hainanese women wearing hats woven with coconut leaves and carrying burdens. He gradually came to understand, got up, and went to find a public phone nearby. Called Mr. Xie and asked where he was. Mr. Xie said he was in the company. I have something to tell you, Lu Ligan said to Mr. Xie. Okay, come here, I'll wait for you. Lu Ligan rode his bicycle to Mr. Xie's entertainment city. He walked through the lobby on the first floor of the entertainment city, opened a small door, and went to the back. Mr. Xia's office was in a row of two-story buildings behind the entertainment city. In the house, upstairs is the dormitory for him and several management staff, and downstairs are two offices and a canteen. Mr. Xia's office is the innermost one. When Mr. Xia saw Lu Ligan coming in, he quickly stood up and said cheerfully to Lu Ligan, "Xiao Lu, you have a good idea. Xiao Xiang told me that there has been action there today." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Yes, I have been there. On the way back, I discovered something, found some connections, and went to the Urban Construction Bureau." "Why are you going to the Urban Construction Bureau? You don't build houses?" Mr. Xia asked strangely. Lu Ligan told Mr. Xia exactly what happened when he went to the Urban Construction Bureau and met with Director Wang. Mr. Xia was shocked and shouted, "Longkan South Road is going to be built, how come I didn't know?" "Darling, it's true. If it passes by my factory, my house will be built in vain, and it will be a big humming loss." It's no wonder that Mr. Xia was so surprised. This was an era before even the name mobile phone was born. The mobile phones in the hands of rich people could be worth several houses. They were also called Big Brother or brick phones. Not to mention the rapid spread of the internet later. Apart from newspapers and television, the channels for people to obtain information are hearsay. Government departments do not advocate the disclosure of government affairs. Instead, they believe that you, a common citizen, do not need to know about government affairs. To understand some internal situations, you must be like Lu Ligan used his connections to find out. Not only Mr. Xia, but most people in Haikan didn't know that a road called Longkan South Road was about to be constructed. "Thank you, Xiao Lu, for being so thoughtful and asking for help for me. With this news from you, I feel relieved," Mr. Xia said happily, feeling as if he was surviving a disaster. "I'm thinking about another thing, Mr. Xia. If you rent all the shooting range, will the army still agree?" Lu Ligan asked. "Of course, my fellow countryman has been asking me for help, asking me if I can rent it all. The price is negotiable. Why do I need so much land? I don't even need any money. Even if I raise chickens there, I still have to spend money. Find someone to take care of the money," Mr. Xia said with a smile. "I have already fallen into the pit once, and I will fall into the pit a second time." If Mr. Xia can collect all the rent from his current factory, will he make any money? Lu Ligan asked. Mr. Xia thought for a moment and said to Lu Ligan, "Of course there will be money to be made. It saves a lot of effort to rent out a warehouse, and you don't have to arrange several people. The water and electricity bills will be borne by the person who rents the warehouse. Apart from that, there are no other expenses. I even looked at the warehouse. Personal wages can be shared among the tenants, but now all the tenants have run away and cannot be found, so I am the only one to bear the responsibility." Lu Ligan nodded and said, "Then I think Mr. Xia should rent out the remaining 2/3 of the shooting range, and also sign a 20-year lease." Mr. Xia was startled and couldn't help but look at Lu Ligan. Seeing that he didn't look like he was joking, Mr. Xia wondered, "What do you mean? I can't even use the house now, and I have to find one for myself carrying a burden. This is not a baggage, it is a gold ingot. When you rent it, you will find a gold ingot," Lu Ligan said seriously. Mr. Xia looked at Lu Ligan, puzzled. He felt that this guy had a very good brain. Why was he so confused when he spoke today? Mr. Xia shook his head. He said no, he couldn't do this. Absolutely capable, Lu Ligan's eyes were shining, and he said to Mr. Xia, "The construction of Longkan South Road has started, and it will only be completed in 1 or 2 years at most. Director Wang told me that from now on, Longkan South Road will be Haikan the main road. Think about it, will the houses on both sides of the main road be affected by the rising tide? Who's going to rent it? Many people will rent. Your current factory can only be used as a warehouse because it is in a remote location and there is no flow of people. Once Lonken South Road is opened and the flow of people and vehicles comes, your factory can not only be used as a warehouse, but also open what can't be done in hotels, entertainment cities, and shopping malls. Even if you do the same as a warehouse, the rent will be twice as expensive as what you are now, right? Mr. Xie was doubtful. Is it true? Lu Ligan thought of his chat with Zhang Chen one night not long after he came to Heiken. He said, "Of course it's true. I remember someone told me that the quality of the economy is related to uphill and downhill. It won't always be downhill, nor will it always be uphill. Heiken's current situation, the economy has reached the bottom of its slope. Once it starts to go up and Lonken South Road opens again, the rent in this place will definitely increase exponentially." Mr. Xie laughed loudly. "When that time comes, I will rent it again." "Can you still rent it at that time?" "Even if you can rent it, the rent will be different, right? Everyone has seen that there is money to be made, so why not grab the head? This matter is now a business opportunity. The so-called business opportunity is an opportunity. Don't lose it. Once you lose it, it will be too late to regret." What Lu Ligan said, even a primary school student now knows that as long as it is related to land and houses, if you make a time difference, you will make money. At that time, not many people really cared about it. No one cared about houses and land, let alone no one is familiar with the one word that combines the two, real estate. At this time, it was still half a year before the first wave of Hainan's real estate boom started, and 2 years before the Hainan real estate bubble burst, which shocked the whole country. In Yongcheng, ICBC offers savings with prizes. The special prize is a house or 10,000 yuan. Those who are lucky enough to win the special prize will choose 10,000 yuan without even thinking about it. No one will want a house. The house has. Why do you need a set if you live there? Those who don't have a house, as long as they have a unit and wait, sooner or later the unit will build a house, and they will always be allocated. And if you get 10,000 yuan, it will be a 10,000 yuan household. Even if you wait for 10,000 years, no one will for you. Mr. Xie thought about it carefully and felt that what Lu Ligan said made sense. After all, he was born in a shopping mall. He also had personal experience with business opportunities. Even when selling cloth, he sold it when others did not dare to sell it. Others only dare to come here to wholesale 1 or 2 horses. When there is a small fight, I dare to go across provinces and go to Zhejiang to purchase goods by the truckload. Lu Yun's boss told Mr. Xie that this guy had business intuition. He was the one who came up with the idea of their golf driving range. A man who didn't even know how to play golf actually came up with the idea of a golf driving range. The idea actually made money, which is amazing in itself. You ask first, Mr. Xie. I'm worried about his troops. Knowing that Lonken South Road is going to be built, they won't rent this land to you, Lu Ligan and Mr. Xie said. Mr. Xie picked up the phone on the table and called his fellow villager. The two communicated in Liuyang dialect, and it was hard to win. Lu Ligan could only hear a general idea. Mr. Xie told the other party that he planned to raise sheep here. The other party was very excited after hearing this and encouraged him to rent other land. The two also discussed the price, and Mr. Xie used the morning weapon. As a plan, tell the other party that the land that has been rented now is so miserable. The other party means that we will discuss it and the price will be cheaper for you. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 188. Mr. Xie put down the phone, and Lu Ligan quickly asked, "How was it?" Mr. Xie laughed when he saw Lu Ligan being so nervous. He said, "You are so optimistic about this place, why don't I introduce it to you and you go and take it?" "Are you kidding?" Lu Ligan shouted. "Not everyone has 8 million. If I had money, I would have won it without saying a word." Mr. Xie looked at Lu Ligan and kept smiling. He thought that God is still fair. This young man has brains but no money. If he waits until he has money, he will probably be like himself, but his health will not be good. Lu Ligan said anxiously, Mr. Xie, please stop laughing. What did the other party say? Do they know that construction on Lonkan South Road is about to start? They knew that construction on Lonkan South Road was about to start, and the municipal company signed an agreement with them. Their armed police engineering force will also provide paid services for this road, Mr. Xie said. Ah, Lu Ligan was surprised, and his disappointment was palpable. Mr. Xie smiled and said, my fellow villager also told me that once the road is opened, it will be more convenient for me. Lu Ligan shook his head in pain. Mr. Xie looked at Lu Ligan and wanted to tease him. He deliberately slowed down his speech and continued, however, they are not as deep as you think. I didn't expect that once the road is opened, the land on the roadside will be valuable. Really? Lu Ligan's eyes lit up. Really, he said that if I sign the contract now, they can give me a discount on the remaining land, 500,000 and 20 years. Great, Lu Ligan excitedly slapped the table in front of him and shouted, Mr. Xie, hurry up and take it down with one blow. While chatting with Lu Ligan, Mr. Xie also thought about the matter clearly. He had already made up his mind, okay, I will make an appointment later and go and sign it tomorrow. Lu Ligan let out a long sigh, his expression really made him happier than he had picked up a gold ingot. Mr. Xie looked at Lu Ligan, thought for a moment, and said seriously, Xiao Lu, the ground is taken, you have to help me come up with more ideas. Okay, that's no problem. I'll be there when you call. Lu Ligan agreed. How about I give you 10% of the shares in this project, Mr. Xie said to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan was startled and blurted out, no. Why, Mr. Xie asked, I'm sincere. Firstly, this was your idea, and secondly, I want to use you as a person. I can't leave, the time has not come yet. What's the deadline? I promised our director that I would finish working at the newspaper for 2 years, and it's only been more than half a year. Mr. Xie nodded, I don't want you to come to work, just help and give me ideas. Lu Ligan was silent. To be honest, it is impossible to say that he is not interested, and it is even more impossible to say that he is not optimistic about this project. What he is not optimistic about is things like stocks, especially human nature. When no money is made, no one's words will matter. They talk nicely and make promises, but after making money, how many people will fulfill their promises? Especially if you have no power and nothing to suppress others, this position will be even more hollow. People are generous and generous now, but later they are reluctant. Maybe you will end up with a grudge because of this. This cannot be done with compared with Zhang Chen's Wang Heilu project. Wang Heilu always relies on Zhang Chen. It is inconvenient for him to step in, including the management of the entire company. Without Zhang Chen, no one else can take over. In addition, the entire project was designed by Zhang Chen. Mr. Xie is different. He is a businessman himself. Old turtle, if you help a little bit, people will treat you well. Once you agree to buy some stocks, then you should do whatever you want. After you finish, you can get whatever happens, it all depends on the other party's own conscience. In the business world, conscience is worth nothing. Seeing Lu Ligan's silence, Mr. Xie deliberately provoked him, Xiao Lu, if you don't accept this 10%, then I won't dare to take this land. Lu Ligan raised his head, looked at Mr. Xie and said, thank you, Mr. Xie, I want the 10%. However, I don't want to be a stock owner. I will pay 50,000 yuan. Thank you, Mr. Xie, for supporting me and letting me participate in this project thing. Mr. Xie looked at Lu Ligan with some surprise. Lu Ligan once again surprised him. This young man is really not simple. He wants benefits, but not immediate, free benefits, but long-term benefits. Benefits, such people are really rare. Mr. Xie thought for a while and said to Lu Ligan, "Okay, I'll do as you say. I'll make an appointment with them later and we'll sign the contract together tomorrow." "I won't go after signing the contract." Lu Ligan pointed at his eyes, meaning it was too ugly. He said, "I will send you 50,000 yuan tomorrow." Lu Ligan came out of Mr. Xie's place, riding his bicycle, but he felt uneasy in his heart. He was so proud just now and promised to send the money over tomorrow, but where the hell is the money? What to send? 50,000 yuan was originally owned by Lu Ligan himself. He was preparing for Tan Shahan to come and saved up his monthly commissions and wages. However, during this period, he kept looking for Ding Dong from time to time. The expenses were too great. Lu Ligan himself knew that there were only more than 20,000 left. Lu Ligan arrived at Zhang Chen's office. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu were both there. When Lu Ligan entered the door, he asked, "Zhang Chen, how much money do you still have in the bank?" "More than 30,000, what's wrong?" Zhang Chen asked puzzledly. Lu Ligan breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Our opportunity has come. I have my eye on a piece of land. Let's go and participate in it." "Why do we need land?" Zhang Chen asked puzzledly. "Growing coconuts." Lu Ligan then told Zhang Chen about his day's experience, trying his best to speak well of the land and how beautiful the future prospects would be. Halfway through, Zhang Chen interrupted him and said, Okay, don't tell me this. I don't understand it, and it turns a deaf ear to me. I only know that no matter what you do with money, it's better than going to Ding Dong. I support you." Zhang Chen took out the bank book from his bag and told Lu Ligan, "Go get it. The password is Lily's birthday." Lu Ligan took the passbook and said happily, "Shall I withdraw 30,000? Okay, Zhang Chen said impatiently. "Okay, now everything is ready. I promised Mr. Xie that I will send you 50,000 yuan tomorrow. You have 30,000 yuan and I have more than 20,000 yuan. That's enough." Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, "Our business. Here we go." Zhang Chen opened his eyes wide. "You only have more than 20,000 yuan, how dare you agree to send 50,000 yuan? What if I don't have it here? Then I'll look for Jin Lily." "Your money is not here, it's with Jin Lily. You don't have any big expenses." Lu Ligan smiled. "Damn it, did you plan this all before you agreed to this?" "It's really not true. I agreed on impulse. When I came out, I remembered that I didn't have so much money, so I came to you," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "What if Jin Lily doesn't have it? Or we all sent it home?" "We did send some home." Lu Ligan was stunned for a moment, then pointed at Xiao Wu, "Don't we still have a gangster? We have to grab these 50,000 yuan, otherwise we will lose face." Xiao Wu glared at him and cursed, "What the hell, am I going to steal money? Just to save your face?" Zhang Chen laughed loudly, and Lu Ligan also laughed and said, "This is not just about face, it is about my credibility and future, do you understand?" Xiao Wu stood up and made a flying kick. Lu Ligan had already expected this move and escaped. More than half an hour later, Lu Ligan came back. He patted his backpack and told Zhang Chen and others that it was all together. "Our future is in my bag." "You are a slut, aren't you?" Xiao Wu scolded. "Young man, you are really young and ignorant." "I won't tell you." Lu Ligan rolled his eyes at Xiao Wu. He sat across from Zhang Chen and said to Zhang Chen, "Let me tell you about our situation again project, let me tell you." "Go away, I don't have time, don't talk here." "Go back and talk to your Wen Qian, or go and talk to Lu Yun," Zhang Chen scolded. "Yeah, why did I forget? If you don't have money here, Jin Lily doesn't have it, and the underworld can't grab it, I can still incite the three of them to join the gang. Ha ha, Luligan said with a smile. Did you see that? This is the way that heaven has no end for me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 189. Early the next morning, Lu Ligan got up and sent 50,000 yuan to Mr. Xie. Not long after Mr. Xie got up, he was startled when he saw Lu Ligan coming and asked, "This early in the morning, yeah, what are you here for? Didn't you agree to send us 50,000 yuan, Lu Ligan said. Mr. Xie smiled, "Why are you in a hurry? When will it be difficult to send money?" "Oh, I remembered it. Are you worried that I am short of your 50,000? Lu Ligan chuckled, "Why should I worry about that? I just thought, this is the rule. If you want to invest in shares, you have to take out the money with real swords and guns. You can't just go and pay the money first. If I come back with the money, what does that mean? A follow-up investment? Or a backup investment? That doesn't make sense." "Okay, then I won't break your rule." Mr. Xie nodded and collected the money. "It's interesting." After putting the money in the drawer, Mr. Xie smiled. "I am also forcing myself by doing this," Lu Ligan said. "Force yourself? How do you say this?" Mr. Xie asked curiously. "We have won the land, but we still need to invest in the future. I have to force myself to earn this money." Lu Ligan was embarrassed to tell Mr. Xie that he had to tighten his belt next and could not find it. Ding dong. Mr. Xie nodded approvingly, and he said to Lu Ligan, "I made an appointment with them to go there at 10 o'clock. After signing the contract, I will give you a call. I will also have a meal with them at noon. In this way, you can come over in the afternoon and take care of me. The equity agreement between us has also been signed. Your little brother follows the rules, and I can't trick you or make you suffer." "Okay, thank you, Mr. Xie. I will follow Mr. Xie's arrangements." After Lu Ligan finished speaking, he stood up to say goodbye. Mr. Xie walked him to the door. He remembered something and asked, "The land is taken down, what should we build next?" "Don't build anything. We don't know what people's needs are now. If you build it, you will have to renovate it later. It will be a waste of money. Don't you already have a house there? If people want to rent it, they will rent your factory first." "Yes, this also has to be done on a first-come, first-served basis." Mr. Xie felt Lu Ligan's thoughtfulness, and he said, "Okay, I understand, you are my little brother, and I, Mr. Xie, recognize you." The reason why Lu Ligan said this was that he had thought it over and over last night. Last night, he didn't even let Wen Wen and Qian come over. He lied to them that he had a cold. In fact, he had a cold. At night, I was thinking about this. He thought that after the land was taken over, the next conflict would be between the land acquired later and Mr. Xie's factory. Mr. Xie's factory would definitely have to be rented out again after the goods were emptied. If their new house was built, Mr. Xie's old factory building will definitely be immediately outcompeted, and those who come to rent a house will of course choose a new house. Another point is that when Mr. Xie and the others chose the site, they should have gone from the Hongcheng Lake side. They chose the side closest to the city, close to the Hongcheng Lake direction. After Longkan South Road is built, it will be at right angles to the road from Hongcheng Lake. In this way, it is equivalent to coming from Longkan South Road. Mr. Xie's original factory building is not next to Longkan South Road. If it is at the back of their land, the family will choose to rent the new house in the front first. After all, the new house is really on Longkan South Road. At that time, Mr. Xie will not say anything, but he will definitely be anxious in his heart. When people are anxious, they will become more and more concerned about spending money. Compared with the old factory, This new house is like one is his biological child and the other is an adopted child. From the bottom of Mr. Xie's heart, he would always turn to his own child. Seeing his own child being left out in the cold, it would definitely feel uncomfortable in his heart. Therefore, no matter what, Mr. Xie's factory must be rented out first. In this way, the project that I cooperate with Mr. Xie will produce benefits later, but being late also has the advantage of being late, that is, the 4 to 5,000 square meters in front of Mr. Xie have been rented out. No matter what it is for, this place as popularity increases, their projects will have more beautiful houses and better locations than the old ones, so the rents will definitely go up, not down. Also, if this place becomes popular, they can consider building 2, 3, or even 4 floors. That means tens of thousands more square meters of houses will be built on the same piece of land, and this place will suddenly become, as it becomes more popular, rents can continue to rise. The most important thing is that now, neither he nor Zhang Chen has the money. Since it is a shareholding, he will definitely have to pay the same proportion for the later construction. This cannot be vague. If it is vague, it will be unclear. Lu Ligan came out of Mr. Xie's place and arrived at Zhang Chen's place. As soon as Zhang Chen arrived at the office, Lu Ligan told Zhang Chen that it was okay. I handed over the money early in the morning. Our business officially started today. Zhang Chen was overjoyed. That's good. Let me tell you, Zhang Chen, from today on, this land is my closest lover. I will think about it every day, and from time to time, I will go and see it. I am obsessed with it and can't get rid of it. It's gone. That's good, Zhang Chen said with a smile. He thought of a similar question to Mr. Xie and asked, now that the land is taken, what are you going to build next? Aircraft carrier. Aircraft carrier. Yes, an aircraft carrier. I want to build it into an aircraft carrier for eating, drinking, and having fun. People can leave for anything, but they can't live without these. Even if the economy is depressed, eating, drinking and having fun are indispensable. Look at the new openings in Haikan every month. No matter how many KTVs there are, it is equally difficult to do business, but it is not their turn to go bankrupt. How can other industries have such a huge endurance? Okay, just go on and have your dream, Zhang Chen scolded. This is not a dream, Zhang Chen, let me tell you, I will take you to see this land when I have time. You will see that it is still barren and the grass is luxuriant, but I tell you, if you look at a grain unexpectedly, the golden seed has been planted, and it is quietly sprouting under this barren land. The moment it breaks through the ground, bang, it will shock the world. Damn you, you're so sour. Zhang Chen looked at Lu Ligan's serious look, and his stomach almost hurt from laughing. Lu Ligan chuckled. Why, you are already the captain of an aircraft carrier, so you don't have to clean the building today, right? Zhang Chen joked. How is it possible? We don't even have the steel to build the deck. No, we can't even afford the pen and paper to draw the drawings. How can I stop? I can only urge me to work harder and make more money every day. Save money more diligently, Lu Ligan said. By the way, you can't escape either. How did I notice that you have become more and more verbose since yesterday? Zhang Chen asked with a smile. Of course, there are people in your heart who are worried about gains and losses, isn't it verbose? When you first got married to Jin Lily, wasn't it the same? You would knock on my door in the middle of the night and ask me to help you analyze, one of her, what does an action mean, what does a sentence mean, torturing me for a long time, running back to the room, I just lay down, and you humming knocked on the door again. Lu Ligan cursed, and Zhang Chen remembered that there really was such a stage. Thinking about it now, it really feels like a lifetime ago. That was my first love. If not you, an old gangster, who else could I ask? Zhang Chen scolded. Yes, I am now in love with this land for the first time, and I will soon fall in love passionately, Lu Ligan said. Who the hell are you in love with again? Xiao Wu just came in and asked after hearing Lu Ligan's words. Go, 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 love is such a problem. The knowledge is too deep. You, a young man, can't understand it, Lu Ligan shouted at Xiao Wu. He said if you see him looking for Ding Dong again, Xiao Wu, you know what to do, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Xiao Wu nodded, I know, I will let him. Break the bones, Zhang Chen said, laughing. It's so troublesome, I'll just stab you, Xiao Wu cursed. Lu Ligan shook his head and sighed, oh, it's so violent. How could you treat a patient like this? Thinking of saying goodbye to that lively and beautiful place, I feel infinite sadness in my heart. I can't help but miss our second commander so much. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 190. Lu Ligan left Wanghai Tower and continued to wash the building. He decided to wash near Wanghai Tower today. He felt that he could not restrain his excitement and needed to run back to share with Zhang Chen and the others at any time. He could not run far away. At about 11 o'clock, Lu Ligan was in a company, chatting with an office director whom he had met before and was familiar with. The BB machine in his waist rang. He looked down and saw that it was Mr. Xie's eldest brother's number. Li Zhu quickly asked the director to borrow a phone. The director said to use it. Lu Ligan grabbed the phone and called Mr. Xie. Mr. Xie told him that the land lease agreement had just been signed. Please come to our company after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Great, Lu Ligan slammed the table excitedly, startling both the director and Mr. Xie on the other end of the phone. Mr. Xie hung up the phone and smiled slightly. He thought, after all, he is still young, enthusiastic, but unable to calm down. The director looked at Lu Ligan and asked, what, did you win the Mark 6 lottery? Yeah, I hit a big one. Then why the hell are you advertising? Why don't you treat me right away? Okay, let's go. I'll treat you to lunch. Lu Li pulled up the director and the two of them went out. After Lu Ligan and the director finished their meal, they hurried back to Zhang Chen's office and told Zhang Chen that the contract with Mr. Xie had been signed and our aircraft carrier had officially set sail. He saw that it was not even 1 o'clock, and it was still early to go to Mr. Xie's company at 3 o'clock, so he made sure to drag Zhang Chen to take a look at the place. Zhang Chen looked outside and cursed, it's such a big sun, why don't you run there, what? Go on your own. Lu Ligan shouted, I think you have become a cultivator. The sun is nothing. Think about when we first came here, it was summer and we were looking for jobs outside. Don't you think the sun was too strong at that time? Zhang Chen was scolded by Lu Ligan and was speechless. Lu Ligan shook his head and said, it seems that you can't sit in this office. People will only become lazier as they sit. I see you now, what the hell are you doing? If you run the building materials market yourself, you probably won't run away. Zhang Chen felt ashamed after being scolded by Lu Ligan. Although he had not reached the point that Lu Ligan said, he was getting lazier as he sat, and he had to admit it. Zhang Chen stood up and cursed, go on, it's just a piece of shit, it's so verbose. Xiao Wu heard it on the side and wanted to go see it. Lu Ligan said, let's go and witness this historical moment. Xiao Wu was surprised and asked, what historical moment? This may be the first land owned by Yongcheng people in Hainan Island. Do you think it is a historical moment? Lu Ligan said seriously. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing, thinking to himself, this bastard really knows how to push himself forward. Didn't he just spend 50,000 yuan and only have 10% of the shares in that land, so he could exaggerate it into an American? With the great development of the western region, Yongcheng people were given back their first piece of land in Hainan Island. However, when he said this, Zhang Chen felt a little proud. Xiao Wu was confused and a little frustrated by what Lu Ligan said. It was a pity that he had no money, otherwise, he could have participated in this historical moment for Yongcheng people. Lu Ligan saw that Xiao Wu was a little frustrated, patted him on the shoulder, and said to him, "But you have already made history before us." Xiao Wu was confused and asked, "What's wrong with me? Your fight was probably the first fight in Hainan in the history of Yongcheng people, and they won." Lu Ligan said seriously. Zhang Chen laughed. Xiao Wu glared at him and cursed, "Then you also made history. You may be a native of Yongcheng in Hainan Island. You were the first to sleep with someone else's wife, and you also beaten into a panda." Zhang Chen had just finished laughing, and when he heard Xiao Wu's words, he laughed again. Lu Ligan also laughed awkwardly. He said to Xiao Wu, "Young man, why do you expose someone's shortcomings when you expose them, and slap them in the face when you hit them? Or, you are young and ignorant." There were 3 people on one motorcycle, and Xiao Wu wanted him to take 2 of them. Lu Ligan asked, "Do you know how to get there?" Xiao Wu had no choice but to let Lu Lipol ride, and he and Zhang Chen sat in the back. Lu Ligan rode his motorcycle. Instead of going up to the south bridge, he turned left under the bridge and stopped at the edge of the separation wall. He told Zhang Chen that Longkan South Road starts here and ends at Yingbin Avenue in the future. And then to the new international airport in Milan, where construction will start next week. "Is the news accurate?" Zhang Chen asked. "Remove the word, I used Jin Lily, and Jin Lily used Director Luo of the Provincial Planning Department, and Director Luo introduced Director Wang of the Municipal Urban Construction Bureau. Director Wang told me personally, you said, is it accurate?" Lu Ligan asked, and Zhang Chen thought to himself, if this is the case, it seems that the news is certain. They then rode forward and arrived at Mr. Xie's factory. The door was still open. The 3 of them were startled by the scene in front of them. They saw dozens of tricycles parked in the open space inside. Zhang Chen shouted, "The tricycle driver came here for a meeting today." Lu Ligan immediately understood what was going on. He said, "Wherever there are tricycle drivers, there are hard-working and brave Hainan women. Come on, I will take you to meet their leader." The 3 people got out of the car and walked inside. Zhang Chen saw Yilan's mother wearing a hat and standing at the door of the house. The staff were moving things out from inside and put them down in front of Yilan's mother. Mom read it, counted the quantity, asked others to get on the tricycle, and then signed a book. Yilan's mother was sweating profusely. When she saw Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan coming over, she smiled happily at them and told them that she had been busy all morning today, shipping goods, and she didn't even have time to sell goods. "With so many people, do you want to occupy every street in Haikan?" Zhang Chen asked. Yilan's mother told them that some of these people rode tricycles to sell, some set up stalls, and some brought them back to prepare for the night market. Lu Ligan and Yilan's mother said, "Okay, you are busy with your work. Thank you for your hard work. Let's go around." The 3 people did not enter the warehouse, but retreated from the gate. Standing at the gate, Lu Lipol pointed to the large barren slope in front and said to them, "Our land is right here. This large protruding area of more than 100 acres is Longkan South Road, which is also in front, just pressing on the edge of our land." Lu Ligan also used Director Wang's word bien at the end. He felt that the word bien was too kind. Xiao Wu looked at the overgrown land in front of him and said, "There is nothing here, just a wasteland. No, a golden seed that you can't see has been planted. It is quietly sprouting under this barren land. The moment it breaks through the ground, bang, it will shock the world." Zhang Chen looked serious and imitated Lu Lizan's words in the morning. Xiao looked at him strangely and cursed, "It's so bitter. It should be the Pole who said this." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You can hear it, this is a famous saying of the Pole." All 3 laughed. Lu Ligan took a deep breath and asked them, "Do you smell it?" Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu looked at him strangely, and Zhang Chen asked, "What do you smell?" The wind and the soil already have our smell. Lu Lizan spread his arms and sighed with an exaggerated expression. Why do you sound like a fart king, Xiao Wu muttered, and the three of them laughed again. Standing here, looking around, Zhang Chen said to Lu Ligan seriously, you are right, this is indeed a business opportunity. Once the road is opened, this land will not be available. This place does have a lot of articles can be written. The only regret is that the lease period of 20 years is too short. If it is a permanent building, the construction cost will be very high if it is spread over 20 years. There is no way around this. According to regulations, the longest period for leasing land for the army is 20 years, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen nodded, then use your brains on construction. Light materials and simple materials can still make beautiful buildings. Anyway, we can't build high-rise buildings, so it's not a big problem. Zhang Chen looked around again and said to Lu Ligan, another advantage of this place is that it is on a slope and the ground is very solid. The foundation does not need to be dug very deep. You see, if the depressions on the side are treated with just the foundation, which is almost the same as the construction cost on the ground. Okay, Zhang Chen, you are an expert now, why didn't I think of this? When you say it, it's true, it will cost a lot of money to fill those depressions, Lu Ligan shouted. Zhang Chen nodded, and Lu Ligan said happily, I really found a treasure.